Hello and welcome to 20 Lore Pro. I'm your announcer today, SirAshtown, and we are here in round 5 of Milton's Collectibles 2.5K Lorcana tournament here in Allen, Texas. So thankful to be here today for the latest in competitive Lorcana. This is the set 1 through 4 with the Buckey errata format. We'll only see this be played upcoming in DLC Toronto. It was played previously at a DLC in Europe, but this upcoming weekend it'll be played at DLC Toronto. So very excited to see this limited format and the type of decks that we see come out of it. Here we are in round 5 watching TCP piloting a Amber Ruby list versus Dash's playing a Amethyst Steel list. Again, I'm your announcer, SirAshtown, here with 20 Lore Pro, and we are so thankful for the Dallas Card Show for hosting today's convention and allowing us to host this Lorcana tournament for you to view. If you missed any of the previous rounds, you can head on over to 20 Lore Pro's YouTube and see them all this upcoming week. Here we are with TCP leading us off with a turn 1 Mulan, coming into play with 2 damage. Nice target for any of those Rapunzels. Turn 1 Maleficent. Man, what a quick card. Some of these Amethyst Steel lists, that's what's so interesting about this format is there's several different types of them. Some of them are just straight out the box, hard, fast hitting aggro lists where they are playing quick questable characters along with bodyguards to try to guard those quick aggro characters like Maleficent here. And then others are utilizing some other strategies to try to use those really great removal pieces like Smash or Cannon, Baboom to try to just remove small characters and try to get ahead on the board by playing larger characters like Tinkerbell or even some Jafars we've seen in this format. We'll see what Dash is playing, as he's possibly playing more of an aggro Amethyst Steel list. There is a Baboom getting rid of that Mulan. Want to get rid of any target like Mother Gothel or anything like that that may be a great target for Rapunzel. Ooh, and here is a strong card in these Mufasa lists in this Gaston. It's able to make your characters cost less and really get a turn ahead by playing possibly a Mufasa. And here's Dash is playing the bodyguard Prince Eric. Maybe he is playing this aggro list where they play early on disruption like this, aggro cards, and then protecting them with that Prince John. That Gaston was there on the board earlier for you to read. I believe it makes the character cost 2 less. Should be able to play a Mufasa this turn if he wants to, for sure now by inking this Sisu. Is able to play a turn 6 Lady Tremaine. The thing about these Mufasa lists, they play some really strong 6-drop characters. Some of them are playing Lady Tremaine, they're playing Madame Medusa, great targets. Dash is really trying to figure out right now what he wants to get rid of. And I think with the Gaston tapped, they both quest for 2. You could replay that Maleficent for 1, depending if you're playing a bounce package. Some of them do when they're playing aggro lists like the Madame Mim Snake. If you're not, then that's a great choice to get rid of here with a bodyguard Prince Eric. Could use that Prince Eric on another turn to quest to protect your character. But if you're playing a Madame Mim and that bounce package, Maleficent would be a great card to bring back, knowing that you could replay it very easily for that low cost. Dash is questing. I think this is signaling that he is playing the bounce package. I'll have to see what he does here, but man, talk about some strong 6-drops or higher. We've seen Stitch Abomination. Great card. Oh, and exactly what we're talking about with the Madam M Fox with the bounce package. Able to get rid of that Gaston, a great card to challenge into that Dash wants to see off the board, keeping TCP from playing those 6 drops even earlier than he wants to see them. This 3/4 Lady Tremaine now having to trade in if he wants to take out this Madam M Fox. Madam M Fox really presenting a great answer and worrisome character for TCP to look out for, as now he isn't able to quest as well with that Lady Tremaine for 2. Dash already up to 6, not doing too shabby here. Able to utilize that early questing power from the Maleficent and the Prince Eric. Still has that Prince Eric in hand too, as a follow-up play with the Churnabox followers. Now TCP here, gonna be at 5, great time for a Mufasa. We'll have to think of what other cards he maybe want to play, but could even get some damage. Maybe a damage character out there like a Mother Gothel, trying to play those cards that really help you get ahead. Here's a Gaston. No ink, may have an ink issue depending on what's in his hand, but is able to use that card hopefully next turn to make some strong plays, unless Dash is able to maybe use some double removal depending on what he's playing in his list. We've already seen one Baboom. He's thinking for 4. And I like this play. If you're gonna quest and pop that Chernobog, it's better to have more information early than to do it after you play. I'd rather have more cards in my hand, more information of what's available for my plays, than to just play it out and then draw, and then I would have wanted to play the other card. Finding a Zeus, a great card to get rid of this Gaston. It does say it makes the next character cost 2 less. Along came Zeus, great card, dealing 5 damage to that Gaston. Really strong removal here in the steel list, just like this. Safely questing with that Madam M Fox, knowing that if TCP does quest in, or challenge into it, not a big problem with that Madam Medusa or Lady Tremaine on the board. Gets taken out though by a Maui. Great card for 5. Now he's safely able to quest out with that Lady Tremaine. That Maui now not needing much damage to get rid of it. Double plays Mr. Smeeze. These are great questers. Not a great trade on Lady Tremaine. Would take out the remaining Maui, which would have to challenge. And again, the power of Rapunzel. We've seen it again. We've seen it before. We'll see it for a long time. Rapunzel able to draw cards and heal characters. Now, some of these Ruby Amber lists, these Mufasa lists, some of them are playing some of the Madrigal that heals. That could be a great card. And some of them they're playing 2, maybe even 3, where it heals 2, draws 1 card. Especially when you're playing the Mulans, which we saw early on. That's a great indication that they're probably playing that card on top of having the playset of Rapunzel's, most likely. Now, Dash is in an interesting position here. He does have these 2 Mr. Smeeze. I can quest for 2, getting him up to 12, but would then be sacrificed into a Maui and Lady Tremaine to then possibly cause more healing? Tough spot to be in. Dash needing to find some characters that challenge and do damage very well. One that I can think of off the top of my head, possibly a Tinkerbell. And we are in Allen, Texas, so we're going to see more players play with these promo Rapunzels. Love to see them out here on the board. Rapunzel being a staple from set 1. Heals 3 damage, is heals 3 damage, and then you get to draw a card for each damage removed in that manner. We know that he's still got the Prince Eric in hand, unless he's inked it. Is a bodyguard. But we need a little bit more than that. Here is a Tinkerbell, like I mentioned before, does represent a good amount of challenging power. The downside is, though, that you've now given TCP the ability to heal and to draw more cards if he did draw into a Rapunzel, or just has another one in hand. Does quest with 1 Mr. Smee? If you're questing with 1, possibly 2, I think would be a good choice, going up all the way to 12. Now you leave yourself open to some extra removal, or just for your opponent to use something like a Medusa to get rid of it. And there is that Madame Medusa. Does get rid of the Mr. Smee that didn't quest. Now TCP is able to get rid of this other Mr. Smee with the Maui. Wow, this quest here really shows that even if he does get rid of the Rapunzel and deals 2 damage to Lady Tremaine will only have 3 damage left. Meaning that's a good target for Rapunzel. Or the Madrigal that can heal. Dash in a tough spot. That is the thing about these Mufasa lists. They are great against character lists. And although the Steel in Amethyst Steel has some great removal, sometimes it can be hard to find that removal you need at the right time. Sisu being another very strong card, especially against some of these lists. Some Mufasa lists have been running some copies of Sisu, the 8-drop that you see there on your screen. We did see that he is playing the 3-drop Sisu. That may mean that he has the shift. Would be able to take out a lot of those early on aggressive characters. Clear up the board pretty well. And here is another card that we have seen in some lists from Hercules. Can't remember the name right now. Dash plays his own Cinderella. Nessus. Now this guy we saw Humble from Team Labyrinth talk about in our latest 20 Lore Pro Ruby Amber Mufasa video. Really a popular card in the sense that it's hard to take care of. 7/5, able to quest for 2. Great hit off of Mufasa. And TCP with a Chernabog. Huge play. This Cinderella is really gonna have to challenge in here. It's gotta trade with something, find a way to get in here. Dash having a spell book. I think you're gonna have to challenge in. I don't think questing here is gonna help you get further along. You would go up to 14. I think Dash is gonna have to quest into this Nessus. That Chernabog now really putting a huge clock here on the board. Dash does challenge in, having exactly enough to get rid of the Cinderella. Sadly enough for Dash at 7, goes over the resist 2. That Chernabog, and here is a Piglet. That is a lot of lore represented on the board at this point. Dash counting it out. No cards in Dash's hand. I don't think that there's anything in Dash's list that can really get him quite to that point. And there's a handshake from Dash to TCP. TCP takes game 1 here in round 5 of Milton's Collectibles 2.5K Lorcana tournament here at the DLC Toronto format, meaning that this is a tournament where sets 1 through 4 with the Buckey errata are only legal. So excited to be here today at Milton's Collectibles for their 2.5K Lorcana tournament, and thank you, the viewers at home watching on Twitch. If you missed any of today's rounds or want to re-watch any of these matches, head on over to 20 Lore Pro's YouTube, where you can find them all later on this week. And we want to thank the Dallas Card Show for hosting today's convention. We're able to utilize some space at the convention, at the card show, in order to have this tournament. So thank you so much, Dallas Card Show and Investabilia, for hosting today's convention. If you're ever in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and you're looking for a card show to go to, head on over to dallascardshow.com. They are having another convention September 5th through the 8th. Head on over to dallascardshow.com to find out more. We want to thank some of our sponsors for today's event. One of them being GFQ Underground, the printers of today's mats that you see there on the screen. If you like these mats or have a custom mat that you'd like for them to make, head on over to gfqunderground.com. You can buy these exact mats today over at 20lore.pro. Head on over to our merch store on 4th Wall, where you can purchase your 20 Lore Pro Fairy playmats today. And we want to thank Diamond Ink Apparel, who has been doing a lot of the artwork for 20 Lore Pro. We want to thank Diamond Ink Apparel. Head on over to diamondinkapparel.com if you need custom artwork for any of your playmats or t-shirts. And we want to thank especially Milton's Collectibles for hosting today's tournament and allowing 20 Lore Pro to come and to stream today's tournament. Again, I'm SirAshtown, your announcer for today's tournament. We want to thank behind the scenes our producer Luxac from Nexus Esports in Waco. If you're ever in the Waco area and looking for a place to play esports or card games, head on over to Nexus. We want to thank also Stunning Rob, who is here today in attendance, the founder of the 20 Lore Pro Discord, and for helping us in today's tournament as he organized the event. Here we are in game 2 of round 5, TCP versus Dash. See a turn 1 Mulan to Dash's turn 1 Chernobog's followers. Dash having gone first during this round. Decides to ink that Mr. Smee to play another Mr. Smee. Mr. Smee really being a great early character, able to quest for 2. Does take a damage as long as you don't have a captain in play, but honestly that early questing matters a whole lot with that 3/3 body. TCP, not wanting Dash to have that extra card draw, does decide to challenge in to that Chernobog's followers. I think especially in these aggro lists, using that Chernobogs to draw can really help you find some characters that you're going to want to play in order to get ahead of the game. Here's a Baboom onto that Mother Gothel, not wanting that Mother Gothel to be targeted by a Rapunzel or a Madrigal. Here's a Maleficent, another great character that can quest for 2. TCP playing that turn 3 Gaston, I think the best turn 3 possible in this deck. Minus playing a Pluto on turn 1 into, I don't know, a Doc or another Gaston on turn 2, would it be? Yes, you'd have a turn 2 Gaston. That might be the best. But for a turn 3 play right off the bat, I think Gaston's very good. We can see here now it opens up so many lines for TCP as he's able to play Madame Medusa, Lady Tremaine. We saw the Nessus. Some of these lists even play Hydra. I don't even want to imagine someone playing a Hydra on turn 4. And we've seen the Mulan. He may even have the Shift Mulan or the Shift Sisu. All great lines that this Gaston opens up for these Ruby Amber Mufasa lists. There's that Stitch Abomination that we talked about earlier. Using the Gaston to challenge into that Mr. Smee to draw 3 cards. I think a very solid play when you know that your opponent's going to have to really sacrifice a lot in order to get rid of it. You get rid of the Maleficent, or at least a removal plus Madam Mim. And if TCP was behind on ink, this is a great way to get up on it on ink by drawing with Rapunzel. It does leave the Gaston pretty vulnerable. Here's Dash with a Queen's Castle. Does have the ability to move character over, does with the Madam Mim. Chooses the Maleficent instead, not questing with it. Again, very dangerous when you know that your opponent's playing Madame Medusas and Lady Tremaines. There's that Stitch Abomination there for you to see. Humble, a player from Team Labyrinth, really helped popularize this card. Really hard to get rid of. There's a Maui straight into the Queen's Castle with the Rapunzel, and is able to make a follow-up play with using the Gaston. I should say he used the Gaston to play the Maui. Oh, looks like he quested. I'm mistaken. I'm so sorry. Looks like he used the Gaston and then played a Mother Gothel. So he's leaving the Gaston vulnerable, but was able to get rid of the Queen's Castle, keeping extra draw from Dash, then playing down Mother Gothel, which now is a great target for Madrigal or Rapunzel. I keep saying Madrigal, but we don't know if he's actually playing that card. It's just a card that a lot of these lists do tend to play if they're playing the turn 1 Mulan. Dash, we saw him ink earlier a Tinkerbell. Decides to ink the Queen's Castle, getting him up to 6 so he can play a Tinkerbell if he draws into one. Don't know if he's playing a Whole New World. I'm trying to think of some of his outs right now. Whole New World here. If you're in an aggro list, could be great late game when your board has stalled out like it is right now, or could really hurt you if giving your opponent more removal in their hand. TCP here with Lady Tremaine getting Dash to choose to get rid of his Maleficent Sorcerer over his Madam Mim. TCP having a very strong board state. Again, these Mufasa lists really love to eat up character decks. And there's the handshake from Dash. TCP is our winner here in round 5 of Milton's Collectibles 2.5K Lorcana tournament. DLC Toronto format, sets 1 through 4, and the Buckey errata. We want to thank y'all so much for joining us here today on Twitch. If you missed any of today's rounds, head on over to 20 Lore Pro's YouTube, where you can watch the rest of today's tournament later on this week. Again, I'm your announcer, SirAshtown. We really appreciate you, the viewers at home, for watching today's tournament, and the players, TCP and Dash, for playing in today's tournament and allowing us to stream their match. We want to thank Milton's Collectibles for hosting today's tournament and for allowing us to showcase the latest in competitive Lorcana. Just want to thank Dallas Card Show for hosting today's venue, and we will catch y'all in the next video. Stay tuned for round 6 as we're getting ready for top 8. The venue does close today at 6, so we'll have to make sure that we're able to stream the rest of the tournament. But we will see y'all in round 6.